Episode 1 Skinned and Raped to Death. Hi everyone, Buttons Tales here. Today's case takes place in Lapu-Lapu City, Philippines on March 10, 2019. Christine Lee Silawan was born on March 26, 2002 in Lapu-Lapu City in the island of Cebu. Like many other teenage girls, she liked BTS, watched anime, and wrote on Wattpad. She was also a church collector who was responsible for sitting churchgoers and collecting tithes and offerings. On March 10, 2019, CCTV footage showed Silawan walking with a man in the early evening hours. This would be the last known footage of the girl. Just several hours later, in the early morning of March 11, 2019, Silawan's murdered and mutilated body would be found in a grassy area of a vacant lot in Sitio Mahayhay, Barangay Bangkal, Lapu-Lapu City. Her face would be partially skinned to the bone, and her esophagus was visible. Parts of her neck, right ear, trachea, and tongue were also missing. Silawan did not have any clothes from the waist down, and there was evidence that she had been sexually assaulted. Her mother, Lourdes, was only able to identify her based on the clothes she wore out that day. Prior to her murder, Silawan was contacted by a man named CJ on Facebook. The two exchanged messages and planned to meet on March 10, 2019. According to forensic investigation, Silawan was murdered between 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. There were 3 suspects in the case. The first one was Jonas Martel Bueno, who was in jail for the murder of a 62-year-old in Danao City. The police claimed that the 2 murders were strikingly similar. However, Bueno firmly denied involvement in Silawan's murder. The second suspect was a 17-year-old minor only known in this case as John. He was Silawan's ex-boyfriend whom she broke up with a few days before the murder, spurring the police to believe that this was a case of jealousy. However, John's relatives claimed that he couldn't have committed the murder as he was playing basketball in public at that time. He even purchased some boiled duck egg called balut before finally going home around 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. His mother also insists on John's innocence, indicating that he would have been on the run if he was the real killer. However, John was still arrested at his home in Barangay Maribago in March 16, 2019. The police investigated the Facebook exchanges between the suspect and Silawan, and though there were deleted messages, there were no evidence that the man created a fake account to lure Silawan. John subsequently underwent a drug test which came out negative. John did not admit to the crime despite Lourdes Silawan being certain that he was the culprit. On April 2, 2019, the public attorney's forensic team released a statement which confirmed that Silawan was raped. Furthermore, acid was poured on Silawan's face before the skin was peeled off. She was then strangled to death. The forensic team suspected at least 3 people may be involved with the crime. On April 9, 2019, the third suspect, 43-year-old Renato Lienes, was arrested by police for carrying an unlicensed pistol during an election ban. Upon getting arrested, Lienes offered an extrajudicial confession and narrated how he used a pair of scissors to gut Silawan before peeling off her face so she won't be identified. Lienes said he reached out to Silawan via Facebook in the name of CJ Diaz. He duped Silawan by using photographs of other people. This led to a fight during their encounter in the Sacred Heart of Jesus Parish Church. Silawan told Lienes she was no longer interested in him due to different appearance and old age. This angered Lienes, and he consequently ruled Silawan to the vacant lot where he brutally killed her, even showing the police the pair of scissors he used in the stabbing. This would eventually be found positive for blood of Silawan. However, Lienes was adamant that though he had been high on drugs during the killing, he had not raped Silawan. He even implored the police to release the minor suspect, John, as he felt bad for him. Leonis maintained that he had no accomplices in the crime. He further claimed that he learned how to peel off skin from Facebook, YouTube, and the Momo Challenge video. I would like to ask forgiveness from Silawan's family. My conscience is bothering me, Leonis said from the Lapu-Lapu City office. Leonis was also found normal to stand in court. However, he would surprise everyone by pleading not guilty. This was done in order to lower the case from murder to homicide. Leonis further states that he was not rescinding his previous confession for the murder. They have strong DNA evidence and CCTV footage against Renato Leonis. The police official was confident that Leonis will be convicted for murder. John would eventually be released on a technicality. His arrest was warrantless. In the Philippines, you can only arrest a person without warrant in 3 ways. 1, when you are in the act of a crime, if a suspect escaped from prison, or if the suspect is being chased by the police. This release sparked outrage in the community, with then-President Rodrigo Duterte even calling for the rearrest of the suspect. 5 days later, John would be rearrested by the National Bureau of an Investigation. They believed that John had a hand in the crime. The suspect would be held in a home care facility in Lapu-Lapu City's Social Welfare and Development Office. The NBI Director, Thomas Enrile, said that the case against John would continue despite the arrest of another suspect. However, as the case with Leonis went on, eventually, NBI dismissed the case of John. April 17, 2020. Leonis' hearing began, but it would not be attended by Silawan's family, who still believed that John was responsible for the murder, and what Leonis was doing was a cover-up. Leonis' live-in partner reported Leonis' involvement in the crime and was one of the 23 people who shared the 1.9 million peso reward money. On May 24, 2020, Renato Leonis would be found dead in his cell by hanging. Although there were whispers that he was killed by someone who was affiliated with Silawan's uncle, who was also interred in the same prison, his death was suspicious. There was no saliva or vomit around the noose. But Colonel Lara refused this, as Leonis did not show any signs of a struggle, and he claims that vomiting is actually not common in cases of hanging. He insists that Leonis' death is consisted with asphyxia by ligature. After the death of the suspect, the Philippine National Police closed the case. Silawan's family is still seeking justice. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!